Whoa, it's Wulzy. Welcome back to another Geometry Dash video. A little bit of an add-on to a video I uploaded a few days ago about the space gauntlet here. Just because personally, there are a few levels that I know of that I feel maybe were overlooked or robbed, however you want to put it. Actually, robbed suggests that the levels that placed above these don't deserve to be there, which ain't true. But it would be awesome if the two levels I'm going to talk about in this video got a little bit more recognition, because they're some of the most unique levels I've seen in the game, and to not have them in the space gauntlet is a travesty. You know, there's only space for so many levels, but this level by Flash is absolutely fascinating. It does so much to experiment with the boundaries of a regular GD level, visual styles, colors. Like, this just looks so beautiful to me. The way all the objects appear too is very creative, makes good use of the color scheme with that flashy gray blue kind of aesthetic there. This level's gameplay is just so sick. It really makes you think differently about the cube's direction everywhere you go. It feels so irregular, and that's why I love it. Like, look at this, using the curvature of the swing copter, or the swing, whatever you'd like to call it, in a very interesting manner. Such cool wave gameplay here, fusing the cube jumping in and out there. This is just so sick. We have the circle flooring too. And look at how the blocks transition in a circle around the edges of the screen. Isn't that sick? The details that are panning around the screen are very, very sick. And the transitions overall, just amazing. Seamlessly moving from part to part, building up this very interesting light beige kind of building here. You got the Planisphere book end screen. Flash has created some very insane art here that looks great when you're playing through, but goes even harder when you're staring at it and picking apart all of the details. Kind of like how museums work, you know? You can walk past some paintings and think, oh, that's a cool painting. But if you stare at it, you'll start to notice the intricacies. And I think they display themselves pretty well, even if you don't stare. Like, you can get a pretty good look at this level just from a brief overview as you're passing through in game. That transition is so sick. The way that the lines flicker, and there are rotating details too, like the orbs swinging around. Lots of very, very tiny objects that are shimmering or moving around or doing some sort of subtle detail alongside their actual look. I mean, look at the ceiling here. We have the attempt number just seamlessly written in the ceiling that I didn't even notice until attempt whatever that was. We have the tiny little squares that are shimmering. These tiny dots all have their own movements too, which I assume are done by area triggers, but I have no idea. The song has so many interesting sound effects that I think are replicated pretty well with the detail, and yet that is just so satisfying to go through. This gameplay is actually really good. It's some of the best gameplay I've seen in this difficulty without being very overstated. It doesn't attempt to be this super huge, intense, bing bang boom boom gameplay, you know what I mean? It's very chill and mellow, and I think the color scheme reflects that well. I love the way that it continues from start to finish. Even when I died and I looked at the background there, I saw that wave section, which reflects somewhere earlier in the level. Here's what I'm saying. You fly through this section, and then you see the archer transition, and then you see the planetary designs, this whole curved section, the wave in the background. This is just so cool, man. It even says Flash at the end, and this is where the end screen transition comes from. Flash is known for very unconventional structure shapes and designs, but look how much is packed into this line art. All of the symbols and the dot arrangements and the shapes that he creates. So cool. Look at this prism block design that you see for a very small section of this entire place. We have what look like sine waves, astral projections. It's so cool. It's just so perfectly done, where each section feels different, but then Flash has found a way to kind of connect each part together, reference the earlier parts in the level in the later parts. Another thing I love about this level is how surreal it feels while being very recognizably Geometry Dash. Oh my goodness, this warping effect in the background to create that curved look inside the circle is just so sick. But yeah, you can pick apart every single object as being a GD asset, which I really like. And then it goes further to create the line art and everything. Just such cool art. And I just wanted to cover it in a video because I think it has some of the most creative art direction that was part of the entire Gauntlet contest. It was initially feature rated on the server, which is wild to me. It got re-rated to epic. Yeah, the making of this video is not to discredit any levels, but more so to recognize some of the runners-up that were kind of bubbling under and maybe overlooked in the tournament. This is so sick, dude. This is Redshift by Arb and Grax. I think from all of the levels, this one has the nicest feel to it. Everything is nice and floaty. It's well arranged. It doesn't go too far with each idea. It just has some of the nicest backgrounds and block design combinations that just feels right, and it's not overstimulating, you know? It's very chill in most senses of the word. I mean, you have some pretty impressive transitions like this one that I just messed up. This section is really sick. I love the way that the next meteoroid belt comes up on the bottom here. I like the color scheme with the orange and blue. It's kind of like a solar color scheme. This transition is awesome. And then you have this really sick wavy section in this wingcopter. It's pretty hard to die in, but some of the transitions, man, you just can't, you can't describe. It feels so massive. I love how everything is rotating around. I can't believe this didn't place too. Like, this is just fantastic. It really goes to show how many cool levels there were in this competition. I think the emptiness, structure-wise, in some of these transitions may have led this level down a pretty unfortunate judging path, but man, there are some amazing effects in this level, as you can expect from Arb and Grax. They definitely have some unhinged ideas coming together as a duo. Like, this end screen is pretty open, I will admit. There are a lot of times where we are just a cube floating through space and you're left to look at the background. But man, if this level doesn't have some of the coolest ideas in the gauntlet contest. This part with this orange background with the waves, the easings on the wave are just so satisfying. Like, I haven't seen many effects executed this smoothly in 2.2 so far. And I think you can leave that down to how much these guys experiment in their levels. They never do the same thing twice, you know? They love the particle usage, they love the scale triggers and the layered movements. And this swingcopter section is the most surreal thing I've ever played. I don't even know how you managed to pull this off, but it looks so sick. Oh man. And the way that you just transition through those mountains right there, ridiculous. And the scaling planets in the background, with that effect style that just looks so good. It definitely could have some more structuring to it for sure, but I think the fact that it is so open, it does play to its advantage, you know? It definitely helps you feel very small in a giant universe, not having a lot of structures to look at. But wow, this is redshipped by Arb and Grax. What a cool level. Banger song too. That was made in 10 days, by the way. I'm just gonna swap back and forth between the ending of the level versus the beginning, and it'll become glaringly obvious what the main critique of this level is. At least in my opinion, it's the most obvious thing I can comment on. It's the fact that it does lose a bit of steam from start to finish. The song keeps going towards the end. It still has the drums, it still has the energy, it still has the atmospheric, like, and you see it when you float through the planet there in that transition, but I think pulsing wise, movement wise, I don't know if it has enough in it at the ending to secure a place in the top 20, in my opinion. I think one thing this level does well is scaling some of the objects whenever the level wants to be perceived as big and large and vast. So I think around the edges of the screen at this part, we could have some similar details that we saw in that last ship part, just to add a bit more to the edge of the screen and give a bit more into the ending. That's pretty much all I have to say on this level. While we're on the topic of Grax, keep your eyes peeled for a potential collab on the channel soon. Thank you for watching. Check the links in the description, leave a like and subscribe, and have a good day.